Hi, I'm Heidi with Healing Harvest Homestead, and I was going through some herbal books in my library today, and I just thought I would pull some of my favorites off the shelf for you. So these are not my essential oil books. We're going to talk only about herbs today, or herbal books today, but these are ones that I feel are very, very good for anybody who's beginning to get started with. And I'll explain why in a moment. But before I dive into the books, I want to invite you to take my free 5-day Herbal Foundations email course. If you're a beginner, it'll just help you dive right in and get started making herbal remedies right away. It's in the link below in the description. And you can also download, if you like, my free herbal remedy guide that comes with a cheat sheet that's extremely helpful for your kitchen or your home apothecary if you're a beginner to herbs too. In that little ebook, I go over 10 commonly found herbs that are good for common ailments and uses that you can start using today. So you're welcome to download both of those for free, my gift to you. Let's go ahead and get into the herbal books in case you are interested in starting an herbal library of your own, which I recommend. We never know when something's going to happen in the world. And who knows if internet's going to be around forever, right? We can't always count on that. So I personally love to have plenty of hard copy books that I can refer to as good resources. And if I take a course or if I go to school and a physical book isn't available, a lot of times nowadays everybody does things online and there's a PDF, then I like to actually go have those printed out because then I have them. All right, so let's go ahead and start in with the books that I just love. All right, so this very first one, this is actually the second, possibly the third copy that I have of this book. I have, the first one just fell apart. I used it so much. It was the very first book I ever came across, and it was the very first book that I ever used a recipe out of. And by the way, if you're new to herbalism, I suggest starting with tried and true recipes until you know how to formulate and until you learn more about the plants. You have to learn about the plants and the phytochemistry of the plants in order to formulate well. So just a little aside there, but if you get a good book that's got some tried and true recipes, then it's a great place to start. And I love this one. It's Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, and she does have, really fairly complete directions in here, but it's a great book for beginners. Great, wonderful book. She goes over common herbs that you have access to, I guarantee it, either in your yard if you garden or easy to find herbs at the bulk herb shops that you can find and use too. But Rosemary Gladstar was the very first herbalist I took a course from many, many years ago. And it was during the time of snail mail still. And I just have completely enjoyed every single thing this lady has ever put out in regards to herbalism. So just want to say that. So this book, Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide, I believe it's in its second edition right now. So let's see here. I'm going to go into the ones I use more often. This is another oldie but goodie, you guys. So I once had a woman kind of berate me for referencing this book in a research article that I wrote because the copyright date is way, way back in 2000. So it's an older book. Rich Ocek wrote this book 22 years ago. And I told her, I said, well, his methods in terms of standardizing medicinal formulas are still good today. So anyway, this is a wonderful book. It is my go-to for herbal medicine making if I want to standardize something or if I need a little bit more information. And if you are a beginner to herbalism, again, this one in conjunction with this one, super pair to start off with. So this is Rich Ocek's Making Plant Medicine. It's a little bit expensive online. Right now I think it runs about $25, but it's well worth it. And it's published by Horizon Herbs, which I believe is his own self-published company. But With that said, Rich Ochek is a wonderful herbalist and very knowledgeable. And if you want to buy plants, he has a nursery called Strictly Medicinals. So I'm not an affiliate. I'm just letting you know. Know some things that I know that might be helpful. All right, another book I just love. This is Body into Balance by Maria Noel Groves. And I think she did a fabulous job with this book. So again, this is a very good book for beginners. It gives you a nice overview of your entire body. And I love that she talks about bringing the body back into a balanced state. So no matter what topic you're looking for in here, whether it's a bad cold or maybe you're dealing with hormonal issues or whatever, this is the foundation of this book, and it's actually, you guys, the foundation, balancing your body, of any good holistic herbalist. We do not tend to look at herbs as drugs. So a lot of people, when they start off using herbalism, they want to see, they always have this idea of what herbs do I use for this or that condition, right? The problem with that kind of a viewpoint is you're turning an herb into a drug, and that's not really how they work. Herbs go to work slowly to heal your body, and they bring your body back into a state of balance. I'm going to share a good example of that with you. So for decades, literally decades of my life, I suffered from very severe allergies, severe, to the point where there were about 5 years of my childhood where my mother would take me every 2 weeks to the allergy doctor to get a big shot in my arm. My arm would poof up, and it was awful. And I was also on prescription medications for a very long time. All my life, as a matter of fact. I suffered from seasonal allergies and allergies to just about anything you can imagine, including cats, which I love my cats. But what happened was, when I started learning herbalism, one of the very first recipes found in this book that I ever used, and I will never forget it, was a combination of mullein, which is a respiratory supporting herb, and marshmallow, which is a demulcent, moisturizing, soothing kind of an herb. And that combination together is wonderful for sinus inflammation. So whenever I would have an allergic reaction, or I'd be going through my seasonal allergies, I would use my tincture of mullein and marshmallow, and it would immediately calm and soothe my sinus inflammation. So I started off using it often. I started off using it several times a day during the worst of the allergy seasonal times. And what I noticed was, about a year later, I wasn't using it as much. 2 years later, I was hardly using it at all. And now we're going on, I don't know, a decade later or so, and I can honestly say that I don't really have to use it very often. So occasionally I'll pull out my mullein and marshmallow, or if it's a seasonal allergy time, I'll start taking it. But what I believe happened with my body is that combination brought my body into a state of balance and helped my body work with the natural histamine response, so that now when I encounter an allergic situation, my body's better able to handle it. I'm not being overwhelmed with drugs that don't work and things that even shouldn't be in my body in the first place. I'm working with plants. So anyway, I know I went off on a little tangent there, and I apologize. Let's get back into the books. But anyway, this one, Body into Balance, is a nice one for a beginner too, or even an intermediate type of herbalist. All right, let's go into these two. All right, I'm going to share these together. These are by Stephen Herod Buhner, and he's a wonderful, wonderful old-time herbalist. Does a lot of clinical studies. He's extremely knowledgeable. And these are two very well-researched books about herbs that can act as natural antibiotics and also antivirals. He goes deeply into how they work on the body and shares how to use them as well. So a lot of times people will ask me, hey, what can I take as an antibiotic? Again, Herbs don't work like this. Antibiotics kill things, okay? A biotic means life, anti means against. So what'll happen is when you take a prescription antibiotic, it gets into your body, it literally kills all the gut flora in your body, and it can make you very unhealthy and have major side effects over a long period of time. It can definitely affect the candida, overgrowth in your body, and I could just go on and on, so I won't. But once you learn how to use herbals that have antibiotic actions appropriately and for the right reasons and in the right ways, you are empowered at that point. So I love these two books. Very, very good. And especially since we're dealing with a pandemic situation, I suggest the Herbal Antivirals. Two of my favorites. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to get into more of the heavy duty books with you now. So I have a small consultation practice, and I also work with community members. So when I'm working with me and my husband, I'm very familiar with how our bodies work and what to do. When I start working with clients, it's another, it throws another aspect in there. So one of the books I really love is Medical Herbalism. And this is actually just good for your family. It's a quite expensive book. However, it is one of my favorites. I refer to it often. And it gives you, it's very well researched. But you can look up body type of ailments and issues, as well as the herbs themselves. So it's just a very well written book, and I just love this. And it is by David Hoffman. Okay, very reputable herbalist. All right, another one I really enjoy, and this is because I do a lot of writing and research, but I'm working with people as well. But The Essential Guide to Herbal Safety by Simon Mills and Carrie Bone. These two gentlemen have a long history of working with plants and phytochemistry and understanding herbal safety. And here they are on the back cover. But I really enjoy this book as well. It's another pricey one, but really you can't go wrong with it. They go deeply into can you use the herb in pregnancy and different things like that. So I like this one. Another one that I enjoy and is also very well researched is this one, Botanical Medicine for Women's Health by Dr. Aviva Romm. Aviva Romm is actually a medical doctor and an herbalist. So I think that's a wonderful combination to come at our healing our bodies. It's a good viewpoint to have. But I like this book because women, I think, are underrepresented in the medical world. And when studies are done, often it's on men. It's on men's bodies. Did you know the dosing on the pharmaceuticals and also especially the over-the-counter drugs are based on tests done on men's bodies? So they have something called standard man. And the standard man is an average guy that weighs 150 pounds. And the dosing for the over-the-counter drugs are based on that. They're not based on a woman's body. They're not based on a larger body or a smaller body. They're based on that. So you guys, when you go to take an over-the-counter drug and you're looking at the dosing information and it says take 2 of this capsule every so often, just know that that's for a 150-pound average man. All right, so you might need to do some adjusting, just as you do with your herbs. At any rate, I love this book because she goes into all of the seasons of a woman's life, and it's very helpful if you are dealing with her hormonal issues. Alrighty, so I've got a couple more here. These have to do more with just working with plants themselves, and I love working with plants. I garden, I forage. It's some of my favorite activities. So a lot of questions I get are about foraging. How do I know if a plant is safe? How do I know what I'm looking at? And the thing is you do have to have an understanding of botany if you're going to go foraging. So you need to be knowing what you're looking at in the plant. So I love this one. This is Botany in a Day, The Patterns Method of Plant Identification by Thomas L. Pell. It's a great basic botany book, and it just helps you become a little more aware of what you're looking at with the with the plant. Another thing I'll mention that really helped me was I started watercolor painting and drawing the plants. And when I started drawing the plants out, it forced me to look very closely at the structure of the plant, and that was very helpful in identification too. So just a little tip there. And I love this one. This is if you're a gardener or a grower, but the Organic Medicinal Herb Farmer is written by Jeff and Melanie Carpenter. I believe that Melanie Carpenter is Rosemary Gladstar's niece, so it runs in the family. But I really love how they've gone through all the plants. They give you detailed growing information, harvesting information, and even selling information if you're interested in selling at the farmer's market. So those are some of my very favorite herbal books. I have a lot more I could go into, but if you're looking at learning about herbalism, get a good beginner's book. Get a field guide for your area. I'm a fan of the Peterson field guides because they're made specifically for different ecosystems. So if you're going to forage, start learning about the plants. If you're going to garden, just start gardening your herbs. It's really fun and so rewarding when you can grow your own mullein, when you can grow your own marshmallow, when you can grow your own valerian or passion flower or whatever it is, lavender, which a lot of people love to grow lavender. Anyway, you guys, grab some herbal resource books to support you in your journey, and I'll go ahead and leave links to these if you want me to below in the description. And I hope you'll subscribe. And if you want to get my free herbal remedy guide and cheat sheet, you can go ahead and get that in the links below as well. It's absolutely free to you. I also have a free 5-day Herbal Foundations course that has gotten some really great feedback. It's a great way to start dipping your toes in the water. So there you go. Enjoy.